You're listening to episode 4 of VoIP, the voice over IP podcast. PlayStation 4, Nuff said. Welcome to episode 4 of the voice over IP podcast. With me is my co-host Adam.
Hello.
How are you doing, dude?
I'm doing good. Ready for this podcast. How about you?
I am doing great. We are playing Borderlands number 1 on live because we're cool like that.
First time
Cloud gaming's where it's at, man. I know. It's the first time we're playing it in a year. So yeah, this is episode 4 of the Voice over IP podcast, and we got a lot to talk about today because PlayStation 4 has been announced, and it's not even E3 yet, and shit just got real. I'm excited. Ah, there's a monster! So we got a lot to talk about today, so we should probably get started. The first thing I want to do is kind of catch people up on where we are with 4 in February. You go first. How are you doing? How's your 4 in February going?
I think it's going worse than yours is.
Dude, we have been doing horrible. We have not beat any more games since last time. Yeah, I put like another 5 hours into Paper Mario.
Right.
But haven't beat it yet. Making very slow progress. What about you? Have you played any more of your games?
I'm still like a few hours into Resident Evil.
That's pretty good. At least we're playing games. At least we're making a valiant attempt to beat them. I don't know, dude. I don't know. The deadline's like next week. Next Thursday, which is when we record the podcast, is like the very last very last day of February. And that'll be it. We'll be out of time.
We're going to need to beat these games because there's a ton of 3DS games coming out soon.
Yeah, that's true. Like Luigi's Mansion comes out next month. And,
yeah. And then Castlevania comes out.
Oh, good lordy. Ain't nobody got time for that. Oh, okay. Whoa, so I'm the worst driver ever. Sorry for the seizures. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into like we don't have a pick 3, but we kind of do. Let's talk about the news. Like the very first thing is that obviously the PlayStation 4 was announced yesterday at some kind of a closed event held by Sony in New York City. So I'm pretty excited to talk about this PlayStation. I've been waiting all day to talk about it. The first thing I want to mention is that OMGs, it's not called Orbis. Because that's what everybody apparently thought it was going to be called, was the Orbis.
Didn't one of the developers say that they called it in-house, they called it the Oreo?
Really? I wonder if it's because it looks like an Oreo cookie. We'll get to that later. But I'm amazed that people actually thought that they were going to call the console Orbis. Like, consoles have code names all the time. Like, the Wii U was, what, Java or Cafe or something like that?
Yeah, Project Cafe.
Yeah, and the Wii was Revolution. Xbox was called... I don't remember. But that's just a code name. I don't understand why that's a headline. Like, I've seen a lot of headlines that say, it's not the Orbis.
Yeah.
Like, that's news. I don't know. It's weird.
Wow, look at that giant thing in the ground.
Whoa! The next thing I want to talk about, obviously, like, they appealed to developers. I think one of the main criticisms of the PlayStation 3 was that it was really, really hard to develop for. So they really wanted to address that this time around.
Right.
And so they were announcing all kinds of specs and stuff and saying basically, one of the big things is they announced that it has 8 gigabytes of RAM. That's huge, dude. That's a lot of RAM. And it's not just any RAM. It's not like, DDR4 RAM. It's like GDDR5 RAM. To put it into perspective, the Wii U has 2 gigabytes. The PS3 had 256 megabytes. And the Xbox 360 has 512 megabytes.
So it's like a giant leap forward in terms of memory.
Yeah, that's just insane, dude. That's an insane amount of memory. And developers are already saying that it makes a huge difference. Like, that's PC level architecture, and that's basically what they were saying. Like, if you look at the icons that they showed while talking about it, like when they said, "Oh, our graphics card is this, and it's a PC architecture," like the little icon looks exactly like my video card that's in my gaming PC. So it's going to be interesting to see what the console looks like, because they just kept saying that PC architecture, and it's not entirely sure what that means, other than I'm guessing maybe the PlayStation 4 is going to look like a PC.
Like a little tower.
Yeah, like a little tower, because they didn't show what the console looked like. And if you remember, one of the original criticisms of the PlayStation 3 also, when it first came out, was that it was huge. It's the George Foreman grill. And I'm guessing the PS4 is going to be ginormous, dude. It sounds powerful, and the only thing that powerful is a gaming PC.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be pretty big too.
So they didn't show what it looked like. So I'm guessing when they keep saying, "Oh, it's a PC architecture. It's like a PC." I think they just want people to be ready for it to be like a giant gaming rig.
It makes you wonder if you're better off just waiting. Like they redesigned the original PS3 and they made it, the PS3 Slim or whatever.
Right, and you may very well be better off waiting because of the games they announced. But the next thing that I kind of want to talk about, other than the developers being really excited, like they showed a whole video of developers saying, "Oh, Sony came to us, and it's like a dream came true, and they listened to us." And it's kind of funny because one of the reasons I wanted to play Borderlands is because it's made by Gearbox, and Gearbox has been under a lot of crap lately about aliens, colonial marines.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I noticed in the video that a lot of people didn't really take note of, maybe it's because I like to seek out the drama, but Randy Pitchford, is that how you pronounce it? Probably.
Yeah, Pitchford.
He was in the video, like, very prominently, but they didn't put his name, and they cut his face away, like, really, really fast.
Yeah, like it cut to a different animation or something like that.
Yeah, it, like, zoomed in on a graphic, and it was like, what?
Like, who is this guy?
And I wonder if they did that on purpose because of all the drama lately. So I thought that was interesting. They left him out. Well, they didn't leave him out. They used him a lot. They just didn't name him. So that was kind of interesting.
Wonder if it means anything.
It's hard to say. Like, there's a lot of drama, and maybe they just don't want to be affiliated with any negativity right now. Because, like, the guy presenting, what was his name? Mark... well, the first guy that was presenting while they were talking about the developers, what was his name? Mark House or something like that?
Yeah.
He was, like, really excited and really positive, and it's like, "Oh, this is the best thing ever," and he was creeping me out because he was way too excited about it.
He's way too enthusiastic about it.
Yeah. But the thing has good graphics. Like, they showed a lot of tech demos. So they showed some tech demos that were really cool. Like, they had that one with the creepy old man.
Right.
That was just impressive looking stuff. If it was running in real time like they said it was, that's some impressive stuff, man.
Yeah, can you imagine, like, considering what the how much RAM it has in it, like a whole city like that, like in a game like Skyrim or something like that.
Yeah.
Where there's tons of characters in like a town, or like, a game like I was gonna say like Fable, but obviously that's on Xbox, but something like that.
Yeah. Maybe Crysis. I think, everybody always makes a big deal about Crysis, but I think the one thing that they're lacking is the human characters. Like, the environments look amazing.
Yeah.
But the human characters don't look that good, and this character that they showed off looked great. It's pretty crazy how powerful the PlayStation 4 seems. It's weird, though, because a lot of the games they showed off didn't really seem to take advantage of the power. I'm wondering if that's because, like, a lot of the games they showed off were actually developed for the PS3, and they're just like, well, let's just port it over to the PS4 since we're going to announce it anyway.
Yeah.
Why do you think that I heard it a lot from a lot of people, like, oh, the PS4 games didn't look that good. Like, supposedly they have this super powerful console, but the games they showed weren't really all that impressive. Like, why do you think that is?
I think a lot of it, or part of it, has to do with that it's really early code for a lot of the games,
Yeah, that's true. A lot of games are still in development.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be interesting seeing where the PS4 evolves, because, like I said, this is way before E3, and there's, like, even Nintendo, like we talked about it last week, where they're doing this thing. Everybody's announcing stuff not at E3.
Right.
I think that's so weird, but so there's still lots of time until E3, and there's lots of time to refine, what exactly the console will do, and hopefully show off some new games. Like they didn't really show off a whole lot of games, but there are some stuff that people are excited for. So I guess we can kind of talk about maybe our best of show. This is where our pick 3 comes in, and we'll talk about what we thought was the best of show. So my first thing that I really liked was Knack. That's like the game that Mark House was working on, and that actually seems really exciting. Just because I love new IPs like that, and I love the concept of building a game based on '90s game design. Like he was like, we're building this thinking what it really means to be on the PlayStation, and that obviously to me means like PlayStation 1 games like Crash Bandicoot and stuff like that. And I thought it was really interesting looking, about a little like robot or something that can form itself together.
Yeah, the art style of that kind of reminds me of like Pixar meets Telltale, like the way the characters are designed.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. What about you? What was your first best in show?
I think my favorite game that I saw was actually we didn't really see any gameplay of it was The Witness.
Oh, right, that's the new game by the guy who did Braid, right?
Right.
Dude, that game did look pretty good. Like, really, it's a very unique puzzle game. It looks like it's open world. First off,
Yeah, it reminded me of like the two things that I put down. It reminded me of Portal and Myst, which is a PC game.
Myst, like the old game.
Yeah, where it's like it's an open world and you can go anywhere pretty much, but there's all these different puzzles everywhere.
Ah, that's a very good comparison then, because that's exactly what the Witness looked like.
I also like that like the art style. It was different, and it wasn't all like super HD graphics and like really gritty and stuff like that. It was more like a Nintendo game in a way.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We were talking about the graphics earlier, and a lot of people were saying, "Where's the graphics?" I'm still a firm believer that graphics aren't everything. If you have amazing gameplay, then you don't need to have amazing graphics. I mean, look at Braid. Braid was a very simple looking game, but everybody loved it. So
Even this game, Borderlands.
yeah, Borderlands doesn't look like incredible. I mean, it looks okay, but it has more of an art style and great gameplay. So that's what really sells it. The next thing on my top list was, well, actually, a game that they showed off. They showed off some new gameplay for. Was oh crap! Are we supposed to be stealthy? I just gave us away. The game they showed off was Watch Dogs. But the sad thing about this is that I'm not so excited about it as a PlayStation exclusive. I'm really excited that they confirmed it for the Wii U.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sad that one of the biggest announcements I got from the Sony event was that they announced the game for the Wii U. But this game looks so cool, dude. It's like Assassin's Creed, but in present day. Like what Assassin's Creed would be like. And you kind of like go around hacking people, stealing their money. It's so cool. I want it.
Is that
It's
a
not going to be
grenade?
out till like holiday. I don't know. Something exploded.
Yeah, it'll be a game to ask for Christmas.
Exactly. And it looks sweet. I just want it so bad.
I wonder if it's gonna have any online components. I
That's a
think it'd
good
be really
question.
cool online.
They kind of did hint at some online components, but they didn't really give anything away. Like later after the Sony conference, they sat down with Jeff Keighley of Game Trailers, and they were talking about it, and they said, "Is there going to be anything online?" And they were just being really vague and saying, "Oh, there's definitely going to be some online components," but they weren't ready to talk details yet. But that's where we got the confirmation, though. They were like, I think he did it on accident because he was like, we confirmed Xbox, PS3, PC, and Wii U, and Jeff Keighley was obviously like, oh, the Wii U too, huh? And I think he was just like, crap.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they were holding back the announcement, but hey, man, we want it. Like, Rami Cowboy posted it up on Go Nintendo, and everybody was commenting saying, sweet, and Ubisoft, you're forgiven, because of the whole Rayman fiasco.
Yeah.
So
They
yeah,
made up
dude, that
for
game
it.
looks sweet. Oh yeah, definitely. That game just looks so good. Like words don't do it justice. YouTube, some gameplay videos.
Yeah, but that game looks really cool in the way like you interact with the environment
Right.
or the technology, really.
Not just the environment, but the NPCs. I think like each NPC has their own personality and their own traits. And the gameplay they showed off is like you're just walking around and you come across this girl and it says that she has a high possibility of becoming a victim. So they're kind of following her and then they see this other guy and it's like he's like a bum or something and it's like the chance of him doing a crime is increasing as the girl walks closer to him and she gets really really close and he's like give me your money. So the demo was like he pulled out his gun. He's like, "Leave me alone, man!" And he ran away. And then you chase him down and you cap a foo, beat him down with your nightstick. It was so cool.
Yeah, he like beats him down in an alley.
It looks like you're gonna have a lot of choice, which is why I really dig it. Like, I wonder if you could be a hero like that, or if you could just be a total douche. And I wonder if it's gonna give you like the option.
Yeah, to be like a villain.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Kind of like what's that other game called for the PlayStation? It's like about superpowers or something.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
They announced the sequel, and it's like the one with the
Oh,
security cameras.
Infamous.
That's what I'm thinking of. Like you have a choice of being a villain or hero, don't you?
Yeah.
What about you? What was your next thing?
My next, one of the best things they showed was Media Molecule showing off like the sculpting with the Move controller.
Yeah. That's on my list too. I love that. It seemed like a whole suite of creative tools, though.
Yeah, it wasn't really a game. It was more like a demo, but
Yeah,
like what's possible with it. But
dude, that was so cool, though. Like, I like when they show a demo, and then obviously the developers had a lot of fun with it because he was like, "We all developed this within a week," and it showed off like hundreds of sculptures. That gets me really excited about stuff like this.
definitely. So I thought the final like thing that they showed off was like the rock. You know, it was like the guy playing the guitar and the girl dancing or whatever.
Yeah,
I thought they would have done something cooler than that.
it was a little cheesy, but I did like it just because it kind of reminded me of like that Nintendo game that never came out. What was it called? Marionette or whatever?
Yeah. The
Remember
Miyamoto
that?
game.
Yeah, where you had like a creative suite available to you.
But yeah, that demo that they showed of how you can build stuff with the Move, I think that's the best use of that any game has shown using it.
Yeah, like Move has been out for how it's funny because they kind of admitted it too. They were like, after a long time, we finally love you.
Yeah.
So they kind of admitted that like nobody ever used Move and nobody really cared about it. And that was the coolest thing I've seen. So, take that for what it's worth.
I think they're really good at making the tools to build stuff, like with Little Big Planet, how you can create your own levels and stuff like that.
Right.
I think they're really good.
I think that's why creative stuff is interesting because of Little Big Planet.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think a lot of people probably found it boring, but I liked it. I liked the puppets. Like, it's weird because it's just waggle. Like, they're just waggling the controllers, and somehow your characters are doing this, like, synchronized dance.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe all that.
Yeah. And that's the thing about a lot of what they showed off. It's like,
Look at that little guy.
get him away from me! Did you like anything else from the show? Or was that basically all that stood out to you? 'Cause that's it for me. I mean,
Yeah,
there wasn't really
basically.
much. They didn't really show off very many games. And the games that they did show off are either multi-platform. Damn it, I died again. Or the funny thing is that all the games they were showing off, it sounded like we're going to come to both PS3 and PS4. Like, a lot of the developers were saying that.
Yeah.
I don't know. As far as a console announcement, it wasn't very strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I felt like it was unnecessary to me
Right.
to have a whole separate event for it. I mean,
I guess, and the weird thing is that they were saying they were going to we were talking about this a couple weeks ago, that they were going to let Xbox go first, and then they did this.
yeah.
So it's
So
like,
much for that.
yeah, it was weird. The whole event was weird. But I have to say, after everything they showed, I do have a Worston show that I would like to talk about. And it was Square Enix. Like, first off, Yoshi Ono, or who was it? What was his name? I don't remember his name.
Yoshi Ono.
The guy from Square Enix came out and he was like really excited about stuff, and I was like, oh man, what are they gonna show off? And they didn't really show off anything. They showed off like this long tech demo, and it's like, oh, this is just Final Fantasy. It looks so much like Final Fantasy.
Yeah, even the
But
characters and stuff.
yeah, but at the end, she like drank some Coke and like got like superpowers or something. And it was like, what?
And that was all cinematic footage, right? It was just all.
Well, they were saying that it was in game, weren't they? Didn't they say everything shown was in game? But they always say that.
Yeah.
That was just the weirdest thing. Like I have like that literally did not make me go, I need this and I need this right now. And that's the thing. Nothing really made me feel that way, other than Watch Dogs getting confirmed for the Wii U.
Ah, I fell off.
What stood out to you, kind of like as like the worst aspect of the show?
I think most of mine are just general things, but I'd say for game wise, Diablo 3, the reveal for that was just like so underwhelming.
Yeah, they led it up to be like this massive Blizzard announcement, and it ended up just being Diablo 3.
And it lasted like 5 minutes or something like that. They showed like the logo and that was it.
Yeah, they were really, I guess you could say, excited about it. But I don't know. It didn't really seem. It was very underwhelming. I wasn't at all excited about it. What else was underwhelming to you about the PlayStation 4 reveal?
Um, just in general, how most of what they showed were just like demos or like cinematics running in real time versus
Yeah.
like actual gameplay. Like I think they had like maybe one developer up there actually playing with a controller, right?
They did show a little bit of Knack footage. I remember that. I don't remember much else. Oh, and Watch Dogs, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So
That was
they only actually demoed a couple of games like live.
yeah. It was kind of disappointing, and I think maybe they're trying to save it for E3. But I mean, like compared to like Nintendo's events that they do where they announce games, where it's just like, here I am in my office and I just turned on the camera and we're about to do a YouTube video. They like held this giant event, and it was like, okay, it feels like you should be announcing more than you are.
Yeah, and I understand the games like they can't actually show them on stage because they're so early on. It's like why even announce them then? You know,
Right.
it doesn't make any sense. And then another thing is that they showed the controller, but they didn't actually show how you can use it. Like, what's the point of the
Right.
screen and stuff like that?
The only thing they showed with the controller was like the Unreal Engine 4 demo, where he was like touching it and barely moving the camera or something. Because it has like, remember we were talking about it earlier. We thought it was a screen, but it was actually a touchpad, a tiny, small little touchpad on the controller.
Yeah, really tiny.
And they were like, "Oh, this is a game changer. I can't wait for you to see how this will affect gameplay." Like, really? What kind of tiny little? It's like a laptop thumbpad. What on earth could that possibly do for gaming? I don't know. I guess we'll see at E3, supposedly, according to them. So a lot of people have been asking me kind of like what I think of the PlayStation 4 announcements overall. And like if I had to wrap it up in like a couple of sentences or whatever, I would just say like it's obviously a very powerful console and it's very interesting. Like it's powerful and there's a lot of potential for developers. And I remember like back when the PS3 was announced and they said cell processor, like all the developers were like, "What? I don't understand already," and it's not even out yet. But this time they actually took to developers and said, "What do you want in a development system?" So I think it's really cool and it has a lot of potential. And I know that they didn't show much games off right now. They did show like a giant list of developers that are working on games. So I think the potential's there. That's exciting. That's the biggest takeaway I think they had. But they need games. If they're going to sell any consoles, they need games, and they need to show games in E3. So, do I think you should decide to go buy a PS4 right now? I don't think so. I think you should wait until E3, see what gets announced, and see if it appeals to you.
Yeah, I think it's definitely way too early to make a decision about it.
Yeah. I think it's just too much up in the air. Like the Wii U is sort of struggling with some game. It needs games, um, but there are some good things coming. Like Rayman is coming. It's not like it was canceled completely. Um, what do we have? We have something coming out next month that I can't remember off the top of my head. Um,
Uh,
what was it?
it's bad that we don't even know.
I know we talked about it last week though. So if you're wondering what we're excited about, that's coming for the Wii U. It's on last week's episode. But you know, there's stuff coming, and then there's still the rumored Xbox, next Xbox coming out, and supposedly it's going to get announced at E3. I still have my doubts. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like they're not going to.
Do you think they're going to announce it beforehand or no?
That's a good question. Everybody kind of seems to be falling along the same lines, like following the same trends. Like, for example, the Wii U has 2 screens. Microsoft has Smart Glass. And one of the things we didn't really touch on, but Sony announced a lot of second screen functions as well with your smartphone and tablet.
Yeah, it's streaming to the Vita as well.
Right. A lot like OnLive, which I think is interesting, and that's where we're playing Borderlands right now. And it's actually working pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what this frame rate would be considered. It probably doesn't look as good on the recording, but as we're playing it, it's pretty smooth. You know, one thing we also didn't talk about was the backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
That's another issue with the PS3. Like, it isn't backwards compatible with PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2. And it looks like they're continuing that trend with the PlayStation 3.
Right.
Dude, I want this lightning gun.
Which, it doesn't make any sense. Like I was telling you about this the other day, like after the show, is that these games that are coming out, like Tomb Raider and GTA 5, I mean, I guess they'll be released on, PlayStation 3 and 4. But like, if you buy for PlayStation 3, does that mean it's not going to work? And if you upgrade to PlayStation 4, like, I don't understand how that's going to work.
That's a good question. All they said was that they're working on getting PS3 and PS2 and PlayStation 1 games via their Gaikai service, which is like their cloud gaming service, right?
Right.
Which is like the online thing. I don't know. I mean, I think they're going to make you download all your games again. Kind of like with the Wii U Virtual Console where you have to re-download all your old games.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're going to do. Like, if I had to guess, that would be my guess. Do you have any closing thoughts on PS4?
Well, just the conference in general, that like Sony spent so much time, like, I don't know if it was like the first half hour just talking about, like, speaking to the developers, which I figured there was stuff they already knew, like how much RAM and stuff like that.
Right.
Considering they helped build it.
Especially if all these, yeah, that's a good point. They spent all this time saying, oh, our console's really powerful. But you would imagine that, oh, crap, that developers already knew that.
Yeah, so it's like, who are they speaking to then? It was just kind of like, it's kind of like E3, like the beginning of the conference at E3, where it's just like, get to the games already.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. I killed that guy in 2 shots.
I just like that they didn't focus too much on the power. Like, they did, but, like, as far as the games that they're developing, it's not just like, oh, this is a powerful game. You know what I mean? So I thought that was interesting. That they kind of were showing the whole graphics aren't everything thing.
So yeah, but I feel like games are like, between the 3 systems, obviously we don't know what the Xbox can do, but I feel like the games are so similar in the way they look, really. They're kind of indistinguishable of what console it's going to be on. Like, they didn't look that much more impressive to me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Like, somebody was telling me, oh, the new Killzone looks amazing. And I'm like, it doesn't look next gen to me. It looks like a PS3 game. And there's nothing wrong with that. Graphics aren't everything.
And it is early, like we said, so.
Yeah. But I mean, compared to like that old man, like nothing they showed was as good as that creepy old man they showed.
Yeah, it's like once they had it in motion, it didn't look as good.
Yeah, of course.
So.
I don't know. It's still up in the air. I don't decide to buy one just yet. That's my verdict.
Yeah, and I felt like the games they did show, they didn't break away from like their comfort zone. Like, they showed another Infamous and another racing game, and
Right.
it was just like the usual things that you suspect from that. Like, I don't know.
Right. Killzone. I'm amazed they didn't show off Uncharted or, I'm amazed they didn't announce a new Crash Bandicoot or something if they're really going for that whole 90s nostalgia feel. It seems like they're really trying to appeal to when they were king in the 3D gaming market,
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
And it like the whole conference raised more questions than it did give us answers. I felt like we didn't see the console, we didn't see the controller much, we didn't get a price. There's so many questions. Backwards compatibility.
Right. And I think they're doing it on purpose because they know that all of the things you just mentioned are what they got a lot of crap for last time.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
Like I think they don't want any negative press right now. They want everybody to be totally amped about it.
Whoa,
dude, this gun is sweet.
Yeah.
It only does 3 bullets at a time.
Something else about the backwards compatibility is like the relationship with GameStop. I wonder how that's going to affect them. You're going to have all these games that you can't play on the new system. So, I mean, sure, there's going to be there's tons of millions of PlayStation 3 owners, but
yeah,
like
I would imagine that the PlayStation 3 is going to go on sale too.
Yeah, I think that significantly decreases the value of PlayStation 3 games. If you can't play them on the new system, it's like, what good are they?
That's a good point. And I think I can't understand why they keep missing that boat. Like, obviously, it's important to people. Why do they keep screwing that up? Why can't, they should think about that ahead of time. And the funny thing is that when they were talking about backwards compatibility, they were, really skating around the topic.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, well, we know you're interested in backwards compatibility, so know that we are working on it, or something like that. And I was like, really? That's all you got?
Something I just thought about is that, they were saying, they're talking up how they asked the developers, what they wanted in the new console. I wonder if they pushed them to take out backwards compatibility.
So that way they could sell new games at higher prices,
right?
Or sell download versions,
or just rehash the games as PlayStation 4 games.
That's a very good point.
Because you think about it, who benefits from it not playing the old games? It's the developers.
That's true. Wow, I didn't think about that. I think that's about it, dude. I think we basically covered all the points of this PlayStation event from yesterday. I mean, not much to say. It's a lot. Like you said, more questions than answers. A lot of vague points right now.
Yeah,
I just think it's up in the air. I feel like Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat. It's like, it has begun. The battle for E3. Wii U's been out since November. PlayStation 4 is coming this holiday for $599 US. No, I don't know how much it's going to be. It's probably going to be really expensive, though.
Yeah, especially with that, 8 gigs of RAM and, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever processors it has, it's going to be expensive.
Like I said, they're avoiding all the points that people can easily judge them on. And they're doing it on purpose. I think that's going to be it, dude, for episode 4. It's actually a pretty short episode. I think we actually managed to talk for under 40 minutes.
Really?
I think so. There's not much to talk about, It's all vague. It's all speculation. It's all very small announcements. If you break it down, they did their conference for what felt like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, I was surprised by how long it was, actually.
And it wasn't actually much announced, so take that for what it is, I guess. That's going to be it. I can't wait for E3, dude. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this means for gaming future.
Yeah. The next gen is here.
The next gen is here.
One system away.
Upon us. One more system to go. Durango, because that's what they're going to call it, because console namers. They keep the code names.
Yeah, clearly. So I have no ammo.
All right. Let's continue playing Borderlands. I'm going to stop the recording, and I feel like we should say bye. This is the most awkward outro ever. It keeps getting more and more awkward.
Yeah.
If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, rate, and subscribe. And that's all I got to say. Thanks for watching. And I died.
Sort of the worst.
Hold on. He has one more health. Or one more health. He has a few more shots.
One more XP.
Yeah! Now that's how you end a podcast, mother. Once again, guys, thank you so much for listening to the VoIP. That's what I'm calling it now, VoIP. Surely you know by now it stands for the Voice Over IP Podcast. If you like our conversations, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with your friends, because that's pretty important. It helps the show. And don't forget to leave a comment telling us how crappy I am. And stay tuned next week or whatever for another fantastical episode of VoIP right here on Old Timey Radio.